What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the InnerCityGeeks podcast. It's Steve here, and this is episode 240. And joining me today, I got Renee.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not too much, man. It's been a pretty cool week. It's a lot of cool shit's been out this week. Um, so I'm excited. How you been, man?
Pretty good. Just same old, I guess. I was thinking earlier, like the week flew by, but we're actually recording earlier than we were supposed to.
Yeah, we're recording just a little bit earlier, just a day earlier.
Yeah, like I think what I did, we're gonna end up talking about anyway, so I'll just save it for later. But yeah, I just been playing PS5. What did I do with the PS5? I put on a bunch of older games, like a lot of older games, like
Right.
PS4 games that I really want to play again. And I just kind of switched them on there, and they all look good, really, really good. So
so the upgrade was pretty good on them.
yeah, like I said last time, everything on there that's like everything runs at least 60 FPS. So
Nice.
a lot of the games, a lot of the big games that came out in 2020, they have these like free upgrade to a PS5 version. So I have Borderlands 3 PS4, and I got the free upgrade for PS5. And God of War has a free update for PS5. So those are the two big ones. I messed around with Fallout just to see how it looked, and it looks good, but it doesn't look as good as the other ones, but it looks good.
Right.
Even the ones that aren't upgraded look really good.
Okay, good. Awesome. Very cool. I guess I can start off with some of the stuff that I've watched this week, and then we could go into some things that we both watched together. Not necessarily together, but we both watched. You know what I mean.
For the show, yeah.
For the show. I started watching something that we kind of touched on a few episodes ago. I'm gonna say probably like a good 5, 6, 7 episodes ago. And they just started. Well, I guess they probably started a few weeks ago, but they just started airing the new Walker series, which is the reboot of the Walker Texas Ranger, and it stars Jared Padalecki, one of the dudes from Supernatural. Yeah. And it's actually a pretty interesting story so far. I've only seen the first episode, and I'm not gonna say it's bad because it's not bad, but it's also like I want to get into it, but at the same time I'm like, do I really want to get into it? Because there's just so much other things that I do enjoy a lot. And watching this, I was like, okay, I like it, but I don't necessarily love it. And I'm not gonna say, like I said, I'm not saying it's bad because it's not bad. It's actually a pretty interesting story. In the first episode, they pretty much go over the fact that in the first five minutes of the episode, they kill his wife, and he
spoiler. No, I'm just kidding.
and he pretty much kind of just goes away for like 10 months, and then he comes back, and they pretty much give him a promotion to being like the Texas Ranger, but they don't call the show Texas Ranger because he's like, yeah, don't call me Texas Ranger, just call me Walker. I'm like, okay, fine.
So it's Walker civilian.
Right, yeah.
Walker Texas civilian.
Right. It's Walker Texas cop with a hat, with a cowboy hat. But it's pretty cool. It's not bad. The first episode, it's an interesting episode. Basically, in that he's trying to pretty much find out who was that killed his wife.
Okay, so that's gonna be the storyline. It looks like for the first season.
Right. Yeah. That's gonna be like the main storyline, and then along with I guess kind of like how a lot of these superhero shows tend to be with like the villain of the week or whatever because of course he's gonna have little things happening here and there. So seeing what they're gonna do for at least this half of the season, because I think there's only like 4 or 5 episodes out right now. It's pretty interesting. I kind of want to. I do want to check it out, but I guess I'll probably check it out. All in due time.
Okay.
So it's not bad, like I said. Then another thing that I actually watched that's actually pretty cool because I do enjoy. I did enjoy the first season of Batwoman, and then so many people were completely shitting on the first season. I was like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that great. But then of course we also spoke about the fact that they put out a whole new Batwoman because of course what's her face disappeared. She was like, oh yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want to do this anymore.
Ruby Rose got fired. So
Yeah, Ruby Rose didn't want to do the show anymore, or she got fired, or whatever the fuck it was. So they got the new character, the new person that's on the show, and she's actually pretty damn good. I like her acting. I like the fact that she's actually pretty physical in the role as well, and her acting isn't bad. It's pretty good. One thing that I do love about this season so far is that they are building on a lot of the other characters that we've seen throughout the seasons, throughout the first season and this season. They are building everybody else's storyline just a little bit more, and the potential that we could have Batwing in this is even greater because, of course, her sidekick slash butler type dude is what's his face Lucius Fox's son.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that basically does all of her gadgets and shit. So he could possibly be Batwing in this soon, hopefully. That would be cool to see. But what I do like is the way the story is going, especially with the girl that played the sister, Alice. Her role has gotten even crazier than the first season. The first season was pretty insane because, of course, she's basically a complete psychopath because she was the main bad guy for the first season.
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces of what you were watching. Yeah,
and yeah, it just her whole storyline just goes batshit crazy. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like what they're doing, and also the fact that like now this season, instead of her riding around on a motorcycle, she finally gets a Batmobile.
Oh, nice.
And the Batmobile actually looks pretty cool. It's kind of it's not like a super souped up, big ass car. They actually made it like a sports car, kind of like a Camaro, but with the bat symbol on the front, which is kind of cool. I kind of like it. But what kind of kills me is that they actually did black and red instead of how. Well, yeah, I guess Batwoman does have the black and red, but it looks cool. I like it. I like the way they did that instead of just giving her another motorcycle to destroy.
Okay.
But like I said, it looks pretty promising. I like what they're doing so far with the season. Yeah, so we'll see what's gonna happen with that because like I said, I enjoy it so far. And then another thing actually that I actually heard before we started going onto the show today, was a podcast that is very fucking interesting as shit. It's called The Apology Line. And it's a scripted podcast, of course, but the cool thing about it is that it's a scripted podcast that basically makes you think about what's going on with people's brains at a time. So this is all about back in the 80s. This one dude in New York basically put flyers everywhere, basically saying, call this number and you don't leave your name, don't leave your phone numbers, don't leave any type of, incriminating type evidence of anything.
Yeah, I kind of remember this. It sounds familiar.
Yeah. And just give an apology. Basically, let us know what you've done that you want to apologize for. Mm-hmm. And it just gets crazy. By the end of the first episode, you hear something, you're just like, holy fucking shit. What the fuck is going on in this? And it's really fucking interesting. And I'm excited to see, well, not to see, listen to the other 5 episodes because it's only a 6-episode run. So I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, I like podcasts like that. I like podcasts that have like a couple of episodes and that's it. There was a really good one about the cops, TV shows, and the live PD shows, how fucked up they are in real life. And I'm blanking on the name of it. I'll remember next time. But there's a couple of really good podcasts that are like, self-contained things. They're like 5 episodes. They're really good.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
I actually remembered what I wanted to. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I actually remembered what I really wanted to talk about because I literally just woke up. First off, it's the 30th anniversary of the release of Guar's second album,
Oh
Scum Dogs of
yes,
the Universe.
yes.
And they redid everything but the vocals because the lead singer died of a heroin overdose a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of made me rediscover Guar. But like the way they play the songs on that remix album sounds fucking amazing. I know a lot of metalheads don't like that kind of shit because like Dave Mustaine started that with his reissues of his stuff when he redid he redid everything by himself.
Yeah.
When he did the remasters. So like, you know, a lot of people don't like that because like, oh, that doesn't sound like what it sounded like. But when it comes to the Guara albums, those first two, the production is really horrible. Like, Hello sounds like they recorded it in CBGB's bathroom, and Scum Dog sound like they recorded it in like an old freight elevator. Like, it just sounded really bad. And like hearing them play now, like the band that they have now, because I think the only person who's still the same is the guitarist and maybe Beefcake, the bass player. But I think one of the lead guitarist is the only guy who's left, and it sounds fucking amazing, dude. Like, it just blew my ears away. Really, really worth checking out. If you're on any of the music streaming apps, it'll say like 30th anniversary remix, whatever. And it's really fucking good. Yeah, it's really good. The other thing is that I want to talk about. One other thing was DC Comics and how fucking horrible they are. I've been picking up a lot of toys here and there, right? Because I know. And I was at a Target randomly, and they had this Batman. It looked kind of cool. Like, he had like this like weird looking suit. He had like a Joker head in a like this weird case. And I was like, I've never seen this before. And it said the last night on Earth Batman. And I was like, all right, cool. So I picked it up. I really like the way it looks, so I picked up the comic book because it was like $5 on Amazon, and I have a bunch of like credits for Amazon stuff. And I read the comic book, and it is one of the dumbest fucking books I've ever read. You read it too. The way I'll do it, and it's funny because I didn't understand what the fuck was going on until like the last issue when like he's talking to Wonder Woman and then he explains everything. But basically, it's one of the dark timelines that came out from the Metal comics. And which I think are garbage, but that's a whole other rant. So it's this weird Batman story. It's like a 3-issue miniseries from 2019, and like the story's nonsensical, and the ending it just fucking ends. Like, it just ends. Like, Batman walks away, and that's it. That's how it ends. And I'm like, this kind of like goes back to what I've been saying for years now, since like Rebirth. I don't even think I was recording back then, but since like Rebirth, I think DC Comics have lost their way. Between the old boys network that they have at editorial, and they still have because they fired a bunch of people, but they still have the same people there. I think the only non-white person that's in a really big position is Jim Lee. Everybody else is like old white men. Because when he used to go to Comic Cons, that's all it was. And I was like, when we used to go to DC booth, because Didio used to always be in your Comic Con, and I met him a bunch of times. And then, you know, Scott Snyder and the rest of them, it's just like a bunch of old white dudes. And I'm like, okay. And then you look at Marvel and you see how their creative approach to comic books and entertainment in general is very different.
Completely different. Their whole lineup is just like completely hugely diverse as compared to DC.
I mean, if I was a Warner Brothers shareholder and I had like I just happened to look into a comic book store, I would be like, what the fuck is going on? Because you can't pick up any regular continuity, whatever the continuity is now at DC, because they have Metals and then they have the regular timeline and some other bullshit. You can't just pick up a single issue and get caught up. Meanwhile, a lot of the Marvel stuff, not all of it, but a lot of it, like you can pick it up and pretty much get the gist of what's going on. And I think that's a disservice to like comic book fans, because comic book fans are really loyal.
Yeah, they really are.
And like they'll keep buying shitty stuff just to support the stuff that they love. And comics are not cheap.
No.
And it's just like what the fuck? And I'm like, yo, like DC really needs to fix their shit. And it looks like they're not gonna do that for a while. But it would be nice if they could fucking put the characters back into like an easy continuity. And you would who knows how they would do it now because it's such a mess.
Yeah. You would think that that's what they were. Well, that technically was what they were planning on doing when they did Rebirth. with pretty much canceling out pretty much everything else that was out there.
But then
Yet
they
they went
fired
right
whoever
along
was.
going right back to that.
Yeah, they got rid of Jeff Johns, and then they had to start all over, and then they made Doomsday Cloud part of the what the Elseworld.
The Elseworld, yeah.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be in continuity, and then this guy, somebody left, and then they're like, "Fuck it, we got to finish it anyway." I thought that comic was pretty good. I could see where they're going with like with what happens in the story and where it would fit into DC, but again, like they really fucking dropped the ball. I think that was it. If I remember anything else, I'll just like say it later. But I think that was it for this week.
Okay.
Because I can see now, so I've been reading a lot of stuff.
Well, it's good to be able to see. That's always a plus. That's always a positive.
Oh, the other thing. So randomly, everything in my fucking life right now is random. But the other day I was toy hunting, and I think it might have been the same day I got the Batman. But like when I go grocery shopping, like I'll hit Target and I'll hit GameStop to see what they have, and then if they have anything really really cool that I'm looking for, I'll pick it up. So as I'm like driving into the Target, which is maybe like 10 miles north of us, I saw a Games Workshop store, a Warhammer store, and I fucking squealed because I really haven't had one super close to me since Chicago, and the one in Chicago was full of assholes, so I didn't really go. But this store, like the guys that run it are really cool, really nice, and they got me back into Warhammer. Like they kind of talked me into buying the latest box set, which I'm not going to say how much it costs because it's ridiculously expensive, but it's actually it's got everything you need but paint to paint the miniatures. But awesome. It comes with a full fucking like
a whole squadron,
like a 300-point army of Space Marines and a 300-point army of Necrons, and it comes with like the stuff you need to kind of build terrain. Like I have a couple terrain pieces, a couple map pieces. Yeah, man. I was looking at the box because I haven't seen the box. Like I knew the box came out, but I was like, fuck it, like I'm not gonna buy it. But I went on the website to see what was in it, and I was like, whoa. Because I remember you told me 300 points, but I was like, I forgot that a 300-point army is pretty big.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
So I have enough to kind of like I have everything I need in that box. Comes with the game rules, comes with two of the codexes, the one for the Space Marines, Ultramarines, and the ones for the Necrons. Nice. And I'll talk about it some more next week because I should be picking it up Sunday.
Hell yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I went by the store today and I gave him my number. I'm like, yo, when he comes in, just let me know because I just already paid for it. So
nice.
Yeah. The other thing is I'm probably gonna get a 4K TV this weekend. Nice. And yeah, I'll probably be talking about that with the PS5 and how everything looks.
Of course. That's gonna be pretty dope. That's gonna be awesome because it's always good to see things. Well, a lot of things on a bigger TV, not just on a bigger TV, but a bigger TV that's a higher quality. Makes things just that much better.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this and you're thinking about getting a 4K TV, trust me, like between Best Buy and Walmart, you can get a really good TV around $300. The ones that I might get is like $250, and it's a 50-inch 4K from Walmart. I might get another one that's like a Vizio because the name brand is the one that's like $250, but you have that TV. They have like the smaller non-special version. Like yours is just like mine.
No, I have the Vizio TV or whatever, and it's pretty good. It's okay.
All right. Yeah, I mean, just as long as it's 4K, just the 4K part of it is what I'm like thinking about, because yeah, like everything that I've been playing, like it looks dope, but I know it'll look even better on a 4K TV.
Right. So, I just want all the megapixels. Give me all the megapixels.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's it. That's awesome. For this week.
That's awesome. Not only is that for this week, but we actually do have a bunch of shit that we actually did watch, that we watched specifically for the show. And there are 4 things that we watched for the show specifically that we both watched.
Yeah, one that I haven't seen in like forever, and I was kind of blown away. But that we'll talk about at the end, I guess. But yeah, we saw 3 really good movies this week.
Yes.
Actually, no, Psycho Gorman we saw a couple weeks ago. But let's start. Let's you start it, and I'll follow you.
Yeah. So I guess we could start with Psycho Gorman. Psycho Gorman is it's kind of like it's a B-rated horror / sci-fi / kids movie / awesome, because we don't really get to see a lot of I guess horror in this way, because what we see for horror for the most part is super gory, super like sexualized, a lot of like shitty acting, a lot of shitty everything. What I loved about this movie is basically that it's I guess to go into a little bit of a story is that Psycho Gorman is an alien that's pretty much dropped down to Earth, and because the angels are pretty much like, oh no, fuck you, you need to go down to Earth and basically be held there forever. And then these kids wind up finding a stone that controls him, and he gets out, and then they're like, nope, we control you, and all craziness happens. So back to what I was gonna say was that I fucking love this movie because it's full of practical effects. Not full of fucking CGI and all the crazy shit that we've seen in a lot of fucking modern movies recently. But like this, you can tell is pretty much done on a higher low budget scale as compared to a lot of the CGI movies and stuff. And not only just that, but the acting is pretty fucking good in it throughout the entire thing, whether it's the kids or the Psycho Gorman himself or the parents. It's pretty fucking good. It's definitely worth the watch. The fucking everything is good about it. Like it's one of those top rated movies for the year so far for me. Pretty much everything that we're gonna talk about today is pretty much one of the highest rated ones for today.
Yeah, actually, yeah. The year's kind of been off to a really, really great start. I don't know if it's because we get to watch this stuff at home, but yeah, like Psycho Gorman, I heard about it like from Shudder because it's made by Shudder, the app channel, horror channel, and they've made really good stuff. Like I got into them just because I love horror and stuff, and it's really cheap on Amazon. So I was like, let me subscribe and check out what they got, and they have a ton of stuff. Like if you're into horror at all, definitely do like the trial run for Shudder. It's definitely worth it. And yeah, they got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of classic horror and a lot of new horror and a lot of stuff that you've never heard of, but you need to see. So Psycho Gorman, like I mentioned Guar earlier, and it's like a very Guar movie. Like the effects are fucking phenomenal for practical effects, and the gore is really well done. The story is really good too. Like the kids that they have in the kid roles, they're really good actors, and it makes you kind of like really kind of feel for them, like when shit happens and stuff, because it gets a little scary for everybody. Maybe like halfway through.
Yeah.
And it just like ramps up, and it's cool. It's like it's a horror movie with heart, a lot of heart, and you can tell like the people that made this movie kind of like grew up watching kaiju stuff, and I have a feeling a few of them are Guar fans because that shit was out of control.
Yeah, it is very Guar.
Like the battle scene when he fights his old team, it's fucking nuts. The stuff with the cop in his head, and oh my god, like it's really good. We saw it on Amazon. I think it was like $6 or $8 to rent.
Yep.
And it's definitely worth checking out on Amazon. I'm not sure how it works on the other streaming sites for stuff that's supposed to be in the theater, quote unquote.
I'm pretty sure it's the same way.
Yeah, man, it was so fucking good.
Yeah.
The thing was like really someone on my Twitter that is into horror, but not necessarily the kind of like trauma or like Toxic Avenger kind of horror. Like the body horror and all the other stuff. Like she saw it and she was like, holy shit, this is really good. And then I kind of just like went into it and I was like, yeah, like thank God it's actually good, because this movie could have been really fucking bad.
It really could have. It really could have.
But the acting, even the fucking the Gorman stuff, like the actor itself, like the role of Gorman, it's fucking really cute the way that Gorman kind of learns that, like, love and being nice to other people, to your friends, is something that's really important. You
don't have to be a total asshole all the time.
Yeah, like he's like, I can be an asshole to certain things, but to my friends and the people that care for me, I have to kind of like be, I can be nice to and be good with. And I was blown away with the way they handled that. Like it's a really cool movie. Like I loved everything about it. It's a really fun movie. I can tell it's not for everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea.
Absolutely.
Like I have a hard time seeing people who like Hereditary have fun with this. But if you're into horror and you're willing to take a chance on something that's really enjoyable, please check out Psycho Gorman, wherever it is. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on Shudder before summer. But if you really want to support something that needs to be supported, I would definitely check out Psycho Gorman.
Absolutely.
Definitely worth checking out.
Definitely worth checking out. It's definitely worth it. It's definitely, like I said, one of the top things that I've seen this year so far. Um, and the next thing that's another top thing that I saw this week, or pretty much last week, um, is on HBO Max, and it's The Little Things. The Little Things, which stars our favorite Denzel Washington, um, along with Crazy Cats, and
Sorry,
Jared Leto, and who's the other dude?
Rami Malek.
Yeah, Rami Malek, the dude from Mr. Robot. Um, and this movie is it's also another funny how all these movies don't take place now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The ones on HBO that we saw, they're all like in the past.
Yeah. Um. So this takes place in what, in like the 80s or something like that, right? Like
No,
80s, early 90s.
they say 1990. Like they actually
Okay.
say it at one point. Yeah, like there's
Okay.
calendars. I didn't notice until the second time I saw it, but there's like calendars in here and there, and they actually say it's like 1990, 1991.
Okay. So it basically it I guess takes place in the 90s, and it follows a detective that winds up going to LA, to his old stomping grounds, because he used to be there before. That used to be his old place, and he basically starts going over this whole homicides thing that was happening in the town, and they don't know what the fuck is going on. And it turns out that it's something that basically ties him to the past in a way. And the story is absolutely insane. The acting is fucking on point, dude. Like everybody in it plays really, really well. Whether it's Denzel, of course we know Denzel. Denzel just it's that's just him. Like whatever he does, it's fucking amazing for the most part. Other than like the Book of Eli and stuff. But
I have my own problems with that too, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
yeah. But besides that, like everything that he's pretty much done, I'm gonna say it's pretty fucking amazing. Rami Malek, awesome in fucking Mr. Robot. He was fucking great as fucking Freddie Mercury.
He's like the only good thing about that movie.
What? Freddie Mercury?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fucking great. And then Jared Leto plays a good fucking crazy person. It's fucking insane. It's a really good movie, and it has probably one of the best endings that is just one of those open endings, not spoiling anything, but it makes you think. And that's what I loved about the movie completely, is that it just makes you think, like, how is this possible that they can do something like this? And it just makes it's something that just keeps you thinking way after you watch the entire thing multiple times, because at the end of it, whether you watch it the first time or the second time or the third time, you're just like, I don't know how this could this actually be this? Could it be this, or could it be that, or what's the actual overall story? Where is this going to? And I fucking loved it, and I'm glad it came out on HBO, because it probably wouldn't have been. I probably wouldn't have seen it in theaters.
Yeah, right.
Because it's not the type of movie that I would go to pay and see it in theaters either.
I might have after I saw the reviews,
Right.
because it got mixed reviews, but the reviews that said it was good, I kind of like dug what I read, so I was like, all right, I might check this out. I wasn't gonna, but honestly, I wasn't gonna see it because I'm kind of sick of Jared Leto.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, man, everyone in this movie did a really great job. The characters are really fleshed out. Even the psychotic guy is kind of fleshed out. It's a very like kind of film noir kind of movie where like everything in the movie is focused on the crime, not like anything stupid or silly. Like it's just basically just about what happens to these people, and it's really really good. I don't want to, like, Steve pretty much hit everything that I agree with. I think Jared Leto stole the show, and I think he got nominated for a Golden Globe or something.
Probably.
And I'm telling you, man, I can't stand that dude anymore. But he was really good in this role.
Absolutely.
Rami Malek is great. Denzel's really good. The whole thing is that the case that, because he's a sheriff in, like, I guess upstate California, and when he goes on to LA, he kind of gets caught up into this. He kind of stumbles onto this case that is very, very reminiscent to the case that got him fired. So, he's definitely, he wants to be in on it. And just the way the story goes, he does get partnered up with Remy, and it's just the investigation goes to places that you would really, really not expect. And even the shit that like got Denzel fired, when they actually say what happens, like it's really fucked up. And you know, like that's just it's a really good movie about being a cop and like what it means to be a cop sometimes. And it's just a good fucking movie. I was really surprised because I wasn't gonna see it, and then you saw it, and you're like, yo, you gotta see it. And then like one night when I couldn't sleep, I ended up watching it, and I was like, wow, like it's the kind of movie that I started again as soon as I finished it, because I was like, I gotta see it if I missed anything. It's really good.
It's definitely like a really, really good cop flick. And like what you actually mentioned after you watched it the first time, you're like, this is very David Fincher-esque without having David Fincher attached to it.
Yeah, totally.
It's fucking amazing. Like it's really fucking good. It kind of, I guess it kind of pays homage to fucking David Fincher shit. Like kind of like some, you know, some Twin Peaks type shit.
It the other thing I liked about the movie too is like you feel for these characters. Like when they kind of go through what they have to go through when shit gets more intense, like you're like, wow, like that's fucked up. Like it's a really good movie.
It really is. It really is. They did a really good job with humanizing every character, no matter which character it is, whether it's, you know, Denzel's character or even the crazy dude that's fucking Jared Leto and shit. You're just like, did he really do something? Did he not do it? What's going on? Like, is he crazy or is he just a regular dude? You're like, you just don't know. But it's fucking great. It's a really, really good story, and I fucking love the fact that it just like I said, it sticks with you for a while, whether you're watching it at the moment or you're just watching it later. You're just like, holy shit, I'm gonna probably watch it again, and I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna wind up watching it again myself. So yeah, it's definitely a great watch. So check out The Little Things, currently on HBO Max, I guess for another few weeks or so. And then the final thing that we both watched. Oh no, not the final thing, but the final thing on the next thing that we watched on HBO was actually another amazing thing. This is actually based on true events. It's something also that I wouldn't necessarily watch on a regular basis either, because I'm not a big fan of biopics. I'm not a big fan of like, oh, this happened so such time or whatever, like historical events type thing. That's not really, you know, my bag of tea when it comes to movies. But you had told me about this this whole story.
All right,
and I was like, okay, tell me.
All right, so back in the 60s when this movie takes place, up to like maybe 75, from like 1960 to 1975, the FBI was spying on a lot of racial groups, like the American Indian movement out west, the Black Panthers in Chicago and on the East Coast and the West Coast, and a couple of others that I'm blanking on right now. And the movie Judas and the Black Messiah is basically the story of Fred Hampton's last year on Earth. And Fred Hampton was a young activist who was living in Chicago, and he was a big guy in the Black Panthers. He was like one of the 3 people that founded the Black Panthers. It was him, Huey Newton, and I think Barry Seal. And basically the United States, through the FBI, went to war with the Black Panthers around 1962 when they started getting really bad in the country. The thing is, the 60s are really weird because it was after, it wasn't that long after World War II, and the people that had come back from the war were still really angry. And when they came back here, they started fucking with everybody that they could fuck with, and that meant a lot of minorities. Because you got to remember too, like the 1950s and 60s were very white in America. And very straight in America.
Also very, very, like, things were also very segregated as well. Like,
yeah.
So it wasn't like they are now. Like everybody can go everywhere at the same time. It was like, oh yeah, that whole segregation thing, everything looked like that, no matter where it was, everywhere out here.
Yeah, man. So the movie tells the story of William Blake, who was a real person, who was I hope I got the name right because I don't want to look it up and fuck up my connection. But basically, the guy is an informant for the FBI who infiltrated the Black Panthers in Chicago, and what I'm saying is not really a spoiler because it's in the movie, but he got so high up that he became like the second in command to Fred Hampton, and he was responsible for Fred Hampton's death because he was the FBI spy that got him killed. And like that's like the really quick version of it. What's funny is that like all this stuff I found out I got into because of Rage Against the Machine. The first Rage Against the Machine album is like really angry, and it really talks about a lot of the stuff that happens. Like there's a couple of songs that tell stories of like what the government did to people and how they did stuff to people. And if you listen to the lyrics of Rage Against the Machine's first album, like you'll hear Fred name drop a bunch of times, the Black Panthers too. And at the time when I was growing up and listening to this stuff in high school, I was really into history, and I discovered the people's history of the United States. And there's a whole chapter on the civil rights movement, and by Howard Zinn. The book is by Howard Zinn. It's a really good book, and there's a whole chapter on the civil rights movement and the '60s in particular, and he goes into detail into what happens to Fred Hampton and Huey Newton and Barry Seal and not Barry Seal, I forget his name, but the other guy. And yeah, man, when I read the story, I was like, holy shit, like Chicago police fucking murdered this dude just for being a good person, and it's fucked up. And he was only 21 when he died.
That's the crazy shit too. Like he was so fucking young.
Yeah, he was only 21. And the movie's so good, man. Like the movie's like historically accurate. There's only I think 2 scenes or 2 set pieces that aren't based in reality, but the rest of it, from like the way this dude got arrested by the FBI to the way they show what happened to Fred, is pretty much on point and like it happened, which is incredible to me because like I'm really glad that like they're showing this kind of stuff now, and like more people are getting into this stuff now, especially now that like we regressed to like 60s levels of like racial harmony here in this country because of the last 4 years under the president. And I'm just like looking around the shit that's happening, and we're having Fred Hamptons all over again.
Yeah,
in the sense that a lot of people are getting hurt, arrested, and killed over bullshit now that shouldn't be happening. It's the same thing in the 60s, man. Like it was so fucked up that like our country warred on its own citizens for no fucking reason. Like the other thing that they go into a lot, which I really like, is how racist and how fucked up J. Edgar Hoover was. Like that shit is for real. Like if you read any of the stuff about the Black Panthers, J. Edgar Hoover's name is going to come up a couple of times. Martin Sheen does a great job as him. I'm blanking on the actors. I know them from a bunch of stuff, but I can't really remember the names. But Martin Sheen, I just remember because it's easy to remember. Martin Sheen is great as J. Edgar Hoover. Most of the shit that he says, J. Edgar Hoover said at one point or another. Like he says that the Black Panthers are like black activism is one of the worst American enemies. Is like enemy number 1 for America. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? And then that stuff really happened. And if you look into like COINTELPRO, which was like the name for everything the FBI was doing at the time against like, you know, people who they were really after and who thought were like seditious or traitorous or like communists or whatever. And like they were communists, was like, but they're in their own way. It was more socialist, where like they wanted everybody to have their fair share, not like the weird version that people think it is. Yeah, like you notice in the movie they call each other comrade because they're in war, and that's kind of where it came from. You know, you're my comrade in arms. And yeah, like the movie's really fucking good. Like I can't recommend it enough. I hope a lot of people get to see it. I hope this leads more people to kind of look up that history and to look at our country and the way it's been since the 50s, because there was a huge chunk of time where this country was really fucked up.
Yeah.
And it took until like the 2000s for shit to get kind of like fixed or clean, or
to a bit of a balance.
Yeah, because like we grew up during the 90s and like we saw some shit too in New York. And like
one thing I told you also is that like to think that like that was only just a few years before we were born.
Yeah, this is like 10 years before we were born. The other thing too, a lot of people kind of forget is that like when this was going on, man, like there was a lot of really fucked up shit going on. And like there was another group of white college kids that were bombing like draft offices, recruiting stations, army, military recruiting stations, a couple of colleges. There was a big bombing in New York that like left a whole building gone and like 20 people dead. And the FBI didn't really investigate those people until like after everything kind of calmed down. Just Google Weathermen, the Weathermen Underground, and you see what I mean. There's a really good documentary. I think it was on Netflix for a while. I don't think it is, but maybe on YouTube. But if you look up the Weathermen Underground, you'll see what I mean. And yeah, it's like I said, Judas and the Black Messiah. Definitely check it out. I might have been rambling a little bit, but it's a really good movie. Yeah, Steve, what else you got to say?
It is a very good movie. And then the final thing that we both watched, that was also very interesting, is something that like we've both been really enjoying. We've both really been enjoying the wrestlings. I've been enjoying the fuck out of AEW, and this week they actually had their AEW women's not tag team, because last year they did tag team. This year they're just doing the women's eliminator challenge pretty much for the women's title. So it's basically a 16 women go against each other to see who's going to be the best out of all of them to fight against Hikaru Shida, who is still, after almost an entire year pretty much of holding the women's title at the AEW. And this week they actually put up the entire first round of the Japanese bracket, because they have, you know, a US side with pretty much all of the American women fighting, who we usually see on AEW on a regular basis. But they actually introduced, which are some women that actually were in AEW in the very beginning, but of course, being that they're mostly in Japan, they're like, yeah, we're just going to be in Japan. All Japanese women from Japan.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, you've gotten me into wrestling through AEW, and like I used to be really big into wrestling when I was like a lot younger. And New Japan has always been like one of my favorite Japanese promotions. And like, yeah, like they had their pay-per-view over the weekend, and it was live too. It was like at 5 a.m. here. But these matches were the ones that took place there, and they're really good. It was three women's matches. They're all high energy, a lot of really great moves. Yeah, I had no complaints. Like I actually sat there and watched the whole thing, and I'm not really like I'm barely into wrestling now. Like I saw the pay-per-view where Sheeta defended against Nyla Rose. And that kind of like made me fall in love with Sheeta, because she's like my future ex-wife now. But I kind of haven't been consistent in watching it. But watching this stuff over the weekend was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I discovered the New Japan YouTube thing, which I had no idea existed. And that was really good too.
Yeah, that's where a few weeks ago I actually watched the basically the history of the Bullet Club, when the Bullet Club started coming up again recently in the AEW. I was like, oh, let me check this out. And it's basically like a 5-episode thing of like 20 minutes each one. It's like, okay, it goes into huge detail of everything from the very beginning until pretty much recently, before, you know, the AEW stuff. But it's really fucking good. So the women's matches were actually really fucking good, really fun. And it was good to actually see a lot of the Japanese, you know, performers to actually do their thing in their own real intimate, because that's what they do over there. And seeing them actually fight over there and do their whole gimmick, because I haven't seen any of them. Like I think I probably saw Aja Khan, because she's the one that's been out there for the longest. She's been basically wrestling for like the last 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's a fucking badass, dude. All the women there, they did fucking fantastic performance. Really good shit. Definitely worth watching. Just go on the AEW website, YouTube's, and it's all there. It's really fucking good, and it basically gets me excited to see what they're gonna do for the second half, basically the quarterfinals or the semifinals. That's gonna be in the next couple of weeks. I think next week they're gonna be doing the continuation of the American side.
The tournament.
The continuation of the American side, and then the women's semis from the Japan side, which all lead up to the AEW pay-per-view in March.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's gonna be really fucking cool. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the shit that we've been watching for this week. But something that we haven't done in a while, we haven't done a mid-song, because we've just been doing our regular shit, and I figured this will pretty much be a good buffer before we get into a lot of geeky shit that's been out this week. So as a buffer, this week we got a new song from somebody that hasn't really put shit out in a very long time. Well, then again, I haven't really noticed if he has in a very long time. But the person I'm talking about is Andrew WK, and I was kind of really not a fan of his when he first came out because that song they did was what party 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 or whatever
I
or party
honestly,
hard.
I can remember like 3 of his songs. That's about it. I'm not really. I
Yeah,
haven't ever been a fan. So
right. I like I said, I was never really a fan either. But then I saw this song on the YouTubes, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. It's really fucking good. It's very high energy. Um it's not super crazy hard, but it is in some parts, and it's fucking fun. Like it's completely different than what we usually than what we've seen from, or at least that what I've seen from Andrew WK. Um, and I fucking love this song enough to fucking put it as a mid song for this week. Um, so check it out, and we'll be right back whenever this decides to actually do something. Yay, computers.
Annihilate, 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 turn me to dust. Regenerate, 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 harness my love, the sanctified whore, the goddess of war, creation unfurled, gave birth to the world, the lover of chaos and strife, the crystallized tone, the infinite world, the blood of our veins, the cup of the rains, spilling the elixir of life. Persephone, Persephone, to Earth's divine. Bring peace to me, bring ecstasy, sing unto thee, woman and shrine. Oh Babylon, oh Babylon, oh Babylon, feed me your wine, destroyer of form, unleashing the soul, with a dirty's kiss, she guards the abyss, slicing herself like a knife. The slayer of night, the queen of mankind,
Now, wasn't that amazing? Hold on, let's mute yourself. There we go. What were you saying? I'm sorry, I muted you over here.
Oh, no, it's all good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, dude. Like I told you, like I was never really a fan of his shit before, but then listening to this when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, this is totally different than the shit that you put out way before. And the cool shit is that one thing that I didn't know is actually he played all the instruments on the shit too.
Yeah, that I remember. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really really good. I'm like, okay, I kind of want to listen to his shit now. Like, but the new stuff, I don't know about going all the way back to listen to his shit from like 2011 and stuff. But this shit is fucking good. I liked it. I liked it. Babylon, it's a good fucking song. So yeah, it's time to get into some geek shit. Yay, geek shit. We got a lot of shit this week. I think I'm gonna start with the one thing that is actually like a huge fan theory. What could possibly be going on for the future of the Marvel universe? It's something that I thought was really a very interesting fan theory because, of course, at the moment we're seeing that in WandaVision they're introducing characters from another fucking universe. We got to see Pietro in from or Quicksilver from the X-Men universe over in the Marvel universe right now. But everybody's like, oh, what the fuck is going on with this? So a huge fan theory is that going towards Doctor Strange, because of course Doctor Strange is something that is going to be technically tied in directly to WandaVision, is that in Doctor Strange they're going to introduce the Illuminati. If for those that don't know about the comics, the Illuminati is basically the secret society of superheroes that are basically like trying to not necessarily control things, but keep things in check for the most part. And what the rumor is saying is that they will be introducing 3 huge characters that we haven't seen in the MCU yet. The 3 characters, for those that know the Illuminati, we know that it's supposed to be Iron Man. Of course, Iron Man is dead already. Spoilers for those that didn't fucking watch Endgame. But of course, Doctor Strange, who is the Sorcerer Supreme. And then 3 other characters, which is Namor, the Submariner, Professor X from the X-Men, and Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So this would be an amazing thing because, of course, this would pretty much bring in, of course, characters that we haven't seen in the Marvel universe. We haven't seen Namor because, of course, we haven't really ventured into the fucking deep seas and shit. At least in the Marvel universe, we haven't. We got to see the DC shit, but we haven't seen the Marvel stuff. Of course, Neymar's, a huge, he is the fucking king of the seas and shit.
He's like the first Aquaman. DC
Right.
stole that idea from Marvel, but yeah, he's like Marvel's version of Aquaman.
Yeah,
he's a lot angrier too.
Yeah, a lot angrier. And we also get the fact that now that we've seen fucking Pietro and the X-Men in WandaVision, we're like, oh, so this would pretty much lead into the fact that we could be getting a Professor X in the Marvel universe. That would be fucking dope to see that. And then the last piece that we've actually heard a lot of shit in the fact that they actually have confirmed that they're going to be working on the Fantastic Four is Mr. Fantastic. Another huge smarty brains that we haven't seen other than fucking not Nick Fury, fucking Iron Man. We haven't seen a smarty brains. Yeah.
And Bruce Banner.
Yeah, and Bruce Banner, yeah. But of course
Spider-Man.
yeah. But another smarty pants that basically has a whole family of his own. So, the whole, the first family of of the Marvel universe. Something we haven't seen in the MCU at least. Other than, now that we're kind of seeing, Wanda and her little family there. That could just be all fictional and shit. But who knows? It would be really cool if we got to see this. It would be the Illuminati within the MCU would be fucking great, because technically, if you think about it, the Illuminati were actually the ones that actually sent the Hulk out into fucking basically Planet Hulk, which wound up being the whole Ragnarok thing.
Yeah, in the comics, Hulk goes crazy because of some bad guy, I think Dr. Doom, and he destroys Las Vegas.
Yep.
And like he really destroys Las Vegas. Like he kills everyone who was there.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do because they can't kill him. In the comic books, Hulk is basically unstoppable. They go into it a lot in the comics. They haven't really touched it in the movies, but he's like nuclear powered, like gamma ray powered, and he lives off his anger. He's all id.
Yeah.
So the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, and the stronger he gets, the more radiation he emits. So the Illuminati decides to, like send him off into a spaceship. They kind of trick him, and then they sent him out, and he ends up on Planet Hulk. Yeah, so like the way it happens in Ragnarok, there's no reason. He just left because he got friend zoned by Black Widow. And but in the comics, there's like a whole story about it.
Right, and really it's a fucking fantastic story.
If you haven't read it,
Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, both amazing fucking reads. Definitely worth the read, worth the fucking money to put up and check that shit out.
They're really cheap now too, like on Amazon. Like all those books, some of them are free, like if you have Prime. But a lot of those books are really cheap on Amazon.
So that would be one thing that's actually really fucking interesting. I would love to fucking see them actually do this, especially since they're going to be introducing new characters. Since we've had characters pretty much die off in the last couple movies, seeing them actually bring this up and actually see them expand the universe, because of course that's what we're hoping to see, because of course the whole multiverse is happening now, so that's gonna be pretty fucking cool.
What's your theory? What's your version of the theory? Like, what do you think?
How they would come about it, I'm not exactly sure how they would come about it, because of course what I kind of sort of think is that like Doctor Strange is gonna pretty much be wielding everything, and in a way he's gonna start handpicking little things here and there and be like, oh yeah, this person kind of looks like somebody that knows what he's doing in this place. And Professor X is going to be, oh yeah, he's super fucking smart, so he's going to wind up getting to fucking Doctor Strange somehow. And then he's going to finding out about fucking Mr. Fantastic because he gets punched in the face somehow. But I don't know how it would all play out, because it there's just so much shit going on that I don't know where to start.
Okay. I have a really big theory, and it ties into WandaVision, which we're going to mention, I think, next. But really quick about the whole Illuminati in the comic book. It's actually a really cool concept, and I'm not sure they're still keeping it, but like they retconned everything so that the Illuminati, I guess after the 60s or 70s, I forget what timeline it is now because they kind of moved the time up, but they were involved with every single major incident in the Marvel universe in some way or another, and that's kind of cool too. There's also like a bad guy version of the Illuminati, which has Dr. Doom, Red Skull,
that's right.
And Namor's actually in it too, because he switches sides, and there's some other shit, but it's really, really good. If you guys want to check those out. My theory is that from the events, because right now we're what, episode 7 of WandaVision,
6,
which is one coming out tonight.
7 is coming out tonight. Yeah.
All right, so we're recording on Thursday. This comes out on Monday. So this weekend was episode 7 of WandaVision. And my theory from watching WandaVision and being the fucking normal version of me while weed clouding my head, I think that Wanda's going to be the big bad guy for whatever comes next, or one of the big bad guys for whatever comes next, whatever they do with the phase that they're in Marvel and MCU going forward. We haven't really talked about WandaVision because we kind of went to wait for the show to end, but the Wanda that we're seeing in that show is not a good person anymore, at least not by the time she's at episode 6.
Right.
She's done a lot of really not cool stuff, and she's crossed a lot of lines in the show, and the show's amazing, by the way. If you haven't checked it out, I don't know why you wouldn't, but definitely check it out. So I think she's going to be the main bad guy, and she's going to start bringing people in from the multiverse. The thing is that the concept of the multiverse works like a little easier than DC. Like anyone can cross, whatever. Like there's nothing. Like no one's gonna die if they come into our world, or they're gonna like flip sides or whatever. They just pick and choose people from other universes. And if you've seen Spider-Verse, you know what I'm talking about. Like anyone from any version of the Marvel universe can cross over to any other version of the Marvel universe. And those stories are really good. So I think something's going to happen either in WandaVision or maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier that like resets something, and then the multiverse opens and you start seeing the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and or again they could do some other fucking retcon and just be like, hey, they were there all along, we just didn't see them.
Yeah.
But my theory is that Wanda somehow is tapped into the multiverse without even knowing it, or maybe even a bad guy from the multiverse is controlling her now, and that's what's going to end up happening. Like something that happens in. I think every show coming out now is going to have something to tie into the movies. And I think that's going to be it. I think she's going to be the villain for that part of the Marvel universe, the multiverse.
Okay.
Just think about it. She's stronger than Doctor Strange at this point.
Yeah, she absolutely is.
Because
there's also another theory that I did see online is that Loki could actually be the bad guy on the low.
That too, because the show's coming out like later this year, right? So
yeah.
And the movies don't start till next year. No, wait. Shang-Chi is the first one out the gate. So we'll see we'll see what happens, man. But I think it's what a time to be a nerd. Like I never thought they would pull off a lot of the shit that just in WandaVision alone. I didn't think they could do a lot of what they did. So
absolutely.
So my theory is that Wanda's going to be the next bad guy, and she taps into the multiverse, and through her and Doctor Strange, they kind of like open up the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because they said they're gonna do Secret Wars at one point, and if they're gonna do Secret Wars like they did in the last comic book, plus the Beyonder, all that stuff kind of ties in, like it because the last version of Secret Wars kind of reset the Marvel universe, and that's how Miles Morales became part of the comic book MCU.
Right,
and it's a really good story.
The 616, yeah.
Yeah, so if there's any way that they kind of make that work, I mean, they can make anything work now, man. Because I did not think they would make Infinity War like doable, and they pulled it off magnificently. So we'll see what happens.
I guess I kind of go into a bit of in a way kind of sort of a spoiler, which is the next thing that I had on not the next thing, but it was down on the list. But Funko Pop, we know they do all these fucking awesome toys, but on one of their figures, which is part of the WandaVision line, they have one that resembles Quicksilver, right? Looks just like Quicksilver. But one thing that kind of makes you think at the moment is because the name on it, all the characters have their names. So it'll say, it'll say Wanda, or it'll say Vision, or it'll say whatever character you have for the for whoever it is in the box. But for Pietro or for Quicksilver, it says Pietro Maximoff in quotations. So, spoiler is like, is it really Pietro?
I don't know. Like I saw that rumor too, and we'll see what happens when the show ends. But I don't think that's it. I just think they couldn't name him Quicksilver for whatever reason. But
right,
because he never, even in the other one, they never say Quicksilver. They just say Pietro.
Right.
I don't know what it could be, but I don't think it's gonna be like that. He's not Pietro. Like everyone else recognizes that he's been recast, but it's still Pietro. So
right.
Let's see. I mean, it's a good theory. It's a cool theory about it. Maybe
it's a really good theory. But like one of the theories that actually they're still sticking with me, because like I kind of spoke to you about it, and it's the theory that the possibilities that it could actually have something to do with Mephisto.
But that would be so out of the blue, because they haven't mentioned that at all. I mean,
that would be so crazy about it.
Yeah, but like it's not like the Ghost Rider, like the Ghost Rider movies don't count as in continuity to anything, and that was like the last time they tried it.
No,
so I think
the only thing in continuity with Ghost Rider is the shit that was in fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, which actually I kind of that show is so weird, but I don't know, man. I don't think that's it, dude. Like I think it's kind of like the whole fucking everyone thought she was Agatha Harkness, and she wasn't. I love
that we haven't seen so far.
I love how these nerds just like break shit down and they make their own fanfic, and then they write an article and it's like, okay, this is gospel. No, it's not. It's just you in your fucking basement thinking up shit that you want to see. It's not gonna work. I just think that uh, Mephisto. Also, it's like if you bring Mephisto in, you have to go into the whole metaphysical thing of heaven and hell, and I don't think Marvel or Disney has the balls to do that. So that's just an aside and like reality kind of talk. Like I don't think they have the balls to do that, and it would be kind of like with the political climate right now. I don't think that's a good idea to bring.
But also you got to think about it too. Like you got to think about also like the different dimensions, the different type of universes that it kind of feeds into. Kind of makes sense in my eyes, at least.
I think
something like that.
I think if it wasn't Mephisto, we would have seen some kind of like hint already, and there hasn't been anything. Like we haven't seen any kid running around in devil costume. We haven't seen any kind of like devilish themed stuff at all yet. And I think for them to do that, they would be really to pull it out of his ass, unless they figure out some way to do it where like he ends up being the bad guy in like a Strange movie. But
right,
which I think would be a better way to introduce him because you would have like a movie to kind of like bring him in, you know?
Right. And at this point, he would secondly just be like, oh, yeah, like, oh, look who is going to be in the end.
Yeah. And it would be kind of weird, too, because, like, that's one of the other things I noticed when because I unfortunately went back to watch Batman versus Superman, and that movie just gets worse the more I fucking see it. Like, I once I got to the Martha part, I was like, fuck this, I can't. But there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of Christ stuff and a lot of religious stuff in those movies, and that's all fucking Zack whatever Snyder, right? Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
that's all Zack Snyder. Like he's really religious in real life, and like that's a lot of his shtick, which is kind of why I'm not really into the shit anymore. But that's a whole other rant. Like
it's funny. It's funny. He does all the you know the religious symbolisms, but yeah, he's doing a zombie movie too.
With Superman, yeah, like he does all this shit with Superman in BVS, and I guess with Justice League. But like, I like the fact that Marvel stayed away from that totally. I mean, we do have the religious aspect with Daredevil, and they actually showed it in the Netflix show. Yep. But they don't really go into it. Yeah, but they don't. Not briefly, man. The third season is all about his mom.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And Bullseye. So, but yeah, I really, really don't think Mephisto's going to show up on anytime soon. Okay. I think Wanda's going to be the big bad, unless someone else is pulling her strings from another dimension. It could be him, but I doubt it. I think everything that they've shown so far in the show leads you to believe that it's just like House of Venom in the comic books. Wanda just had a mental break, and it happens. Like Wanda, her mind snaps from the stress,
right,
and everything she's gone through because she's by herself. Like she has no one to relate to. Vision is dead. So is her brother. She has no family. She's not really like a friendly type.
Yeah, so she makes up her own family.
Exactly.
Yeah. She brings back her old hubs, and she makes him look like he's fucking real. Yeah.
The brother too.
Yeah, and the brother. Oh boy, so fun.
But I think that's all gonna come around with Zemo in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Because they're both in the same place.
Yeah, they are. Some other shit that came out this week. Something a little bit on the lighter note. I'm a big fan of Teen Titans and a big fan of Teen Titans Go, because it's a really fun fucking show. But they're gonna be doing a spinoff of Teen Titans Go, bringing pretty much all the characters. So Robin, Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy, coming back in what they're calling the night begins to shine. And this is basically taking these heroes and putting them into basically a musical world. I don't know.
No way. I had no idea what this was. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know if you watched it, but I think they did a whole like 4-part episode of them living in a musical, pretty much, with musical pieces throughout the entire thing. It's fucking great. So I definitely suggest checking that shit out. I don't remember the name of the episodes, but I'll look into that and I'll basically tell you what they are. But
I'll check it out.
It's really fucking good. They go into a whole nother worlds, and everything's all musically based. A lot of rock stuff. Really cool shit. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with this, because of course, like I said, I'm a big fan of the Teen Titans Go, as well as the regular Teen Titans, and seeing that they're gonna do something like this, basically taking Teen Titans to the next level. It's going to be pretty cool. This is, of course, going to be both between Cartoon Network and HBO Max, and it's a whole spin-off series. So we're going to see a lot more than just 2 episodes or whatever. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that. Then the next thing that we have, another animated thing. That's gonna be pretty fucking cool. We've been a fan of Gremlins for like ages. I've been a fan of Gremlins forever. And what I'm talking about is Gremlins, the prequel series, which is gonna be Gremlins: Secrets of Mogwai.
Is it a cartoon or live action?
And it's animated.
Okay.
It's animated, and some of the voices that are gonna be in it, it's pretty fucking dope. We're gonna have Ming-Na Wen, who was in The Mandalorian, and as well as Mulan. She's gonna be playing one of the voices. BD Wong, who we've known from like a bazillion things. And James Hong, who was in Big Trouble Little Chinatown. So fucking great! This is such a great cast so far. And then Matthew Rhys, who was in The Americans and in the new Perry Mason stuff. And these are all voiceover characters for the new half-hour show. That's gonna be fucking dope. And it's gonna be Warner Brothers, so it's gonna be on HBO Max and shit too. So that's gonna be fucking cool. So much fucking shit for the HBOs. I'm excited, man. I'm a huge fan of Gremlins, and I want to see what they're gonna do with this. But of course, this series takes place in Shanghai, but in the 1920s.
Okay.
So from the very beginnings of the Mogwais that we know of so far.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a 10 episode run, and they don't necessarily know when exactly it's gonna be coming out, but I'm down for it. I'm excited to see this. I want to see it now. And then what else do we have here? Another thing for HBO Max. I was a big fan of the Constantine movie. I love seeing the Constantine TV show that we had for a little while. And then Constantine got moved over to Legends of Tomorrow, and that was fucking cool. But then we got news that Constantine is going to be getting a reboot for HBO Max. And in Constantine getting a reboot, not only just is it a reboot, but it's also going to be rebooted by J.J. Abrams and the whole Bad Robot crew. So it's going to be a whole new Constantine, and they're looking for some awesome fucking people for it.
Yeah, like it was funny because we both kind of like picked up on this today. It sounds good. I'm in. Again, like HBO and Warner Brothers since like last summer have been since Watchmen, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Have been hitting it out of the park or everything they've done. So yeah, I'm totally down. I love the character too. I read the old comic books. And I love the old comic books. Like the way they kind of like use them in DC comics is just like out of a really different take. Yeah, it's a really different take on religious stuff and just what it means to be like a good or bad person, especially in that world. Yeah. And if they do it like that, it should be pretty cool. I mean, aren't they working on the sequel to the movie too? Right? We mentioned this like a couple.
Yeah, so supposedly they did say that they're going to be working on a sequel to the original Constantine movie. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with all of it and how they're going to do all of it.
Yeah, man.
Especially since we're going to have I guess we're going to have Keanu Reeves, then we're going to have Matt Ryan on Legends, and then another version of Constantine in this as well. So you're just gonna have Constantines everywhere, and I like it because I like the fact that they keep doing the whole the magic in a way that's fucking dope, like that dark magic shit. Because for a while they've also been talking about doing a whole Justice League Dark thing that never really came to fruition either.
Those cartoons are really good though. They're on HBO Max. They're on HBO Max. They're really good.
So seeing them actually do something with the dark version of all this shit is fucking cool. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it. Rumors are that they're looking to getting a whole new Zatanna as well, which would be fucking dope. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it. Because of course all the superhero shits. It's time for the superhero shits all the time. Another cool thing that came out this week that's gonna be on Netflix. We got news that something that we actually spoke about a few weeks ago as well. That what's his face? Tim Burton wants to do a live action version of the Addams Family, and Netflix was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's do it." And we got news that not only is it a live action version of the Addams Family, but it's a live action teen story. It's a teenage story basically following Wednesday Addams. So the show's going to be called Wednesday.
Cool.
And it's interesting because of course we've seen Tim Burton do a lot of shit. Of course we've seen him do all the claymation stuff, but we also remember that he did do all these back in the day. I don't think he does a lot of live action shit now, or at least good live action shit. Bringing back the whole dark feel of his shit into fucking the whole Addams Family thing. I'm excited to see this because, of course, I've been a big fan of the Addams Family, and seeing that they're gonna actually do something for the Addams Family in this looks fucking cool. I'm definitely excited to see this. We've had Wednesday in like 18 different iterations, but of course, we had the original Wednesday Addams from the 50s and shit, and then we also had Christina Ricci as Wednesday in the Addams Family movies from the early 90s and stuff. And then recently we had Chloe Grace Moretz play Wednesday in the animated Addams Family as well.
Were those any good?
The movie was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good animated chick. I didn't mind that. I liked it a lot.
I think there's two of them. Yeah, I'll check them out.
The kid from Stranger Things plays Pugsley.
All right.
And he's fucking good. He's a good acting kid. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with the Addams Family and with Wednesday. That's gonna be coming to Netflix. They haven't really said who's gonna be acting in it, but that's cool because I don't want to know yet. It's still in pre-production. They're still not like any real say as to what's going where and who's going what. But I'm excited for it. Wednesday Addams gonna be pretty fucking dope, especially coming to Netflix. So we're gonna get a whole series all at once. So we'll just sit and binge it. Now the big cool shit that we got this week.
Literally today.
Yeah, two huge things came out this week. One of them came out a little earlier in the week, which is what I'm going to talk about right now, and that is Cruella. We got the first trailer for Cruella, which, of course, for those that don't know, where the fuck have you been? But Cruella de Vil, who is the main villain in 101 Dalmatians and then 102 Dalmatians and all the Dalmatians movies, she is getting her own movie. Just like Disney's been doing all the live action shit with the villains, we actually get to see them doing another villainized, basically come up story, the makings of and why this person became who they really are. We've seen it in fucking Maleficent, and supposedly they're going to be doing another one for fucking Ursula or whatever. But we actually get to see what they're going to do with Cruella de Vil. And this first trailer looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, it looks cool. I don't know. I saw some negative reaction to it because people are people, but I dug it. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I'm cautiously optimistic that this is gonna work. It looks cool. It looks funny.
It looks really good.
It looks dark too. That's one thing. It looks really dark.
That's what I fucking loved about it. The fact that it was really dark. It looks like they're basically making a whole fucking like a Joker version of fucking
right. Yeah.
And I fucking love it. Like, it looks really fucking good. And on top of that, like, it has a really good cast. Well, from all, the only person that really stands out to me other than Cruella is Stanley Tucci's in it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
fucking great. He's a great fucking actor. I'm excited to see him actually doing something for for Disney. But also the lead actor who plays Cruella, who's fucking Emma Stone.
She's
I've
awesome. She's great in
I've
everything she does.
yeah, I've fucking loved Emma Stone since what was it? Easy A or some shit, or even before that, fucking old school, not old school, fucking
Super bad.
yeah, super bad. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That movie's
And-
old, dude. Like,
yeah,
it was really old.
yeah, that movie's really old. I luckily got to meet her one day. That was fun. Yeah, that's like my big celebrity crush right there.
Wow.
Yeah. Emma Stone is gonna be Cruella de Vil. So I am all in on this. Let's see this. I want to see it. I want to see it now. And that's gonna be, of course, on Disney Plus. That's gonna be coming out in April, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming real soon. But coming out before that, it's something that was fucking bananas amazing today. Originally, we had just gotten teaser posters of every character for this,
Which
what I'm
looked
talking,
great.
which
Those
looked
posters look really
fucking
cool.
fantastic. And what I'm talking about right now is Mortal Kombat. We got um we got the teaser posters, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. We get to see all the characters, who's gonna be in it, who's not gonna be in it. Of course, not gonna be fucking Johnny Cage, because fuck that dude.
I'll explain Johnny Cage after you.
Yeah, but we got to see the first trailer. Finally, the first trailer for Mortal Kombat, and this looks fucking amazing. So excited for this. It's I don't know if it's produced or directed by James Wan, but James Wan knows what he's fucking doing with movies, and I fucking love him. Everything that he's pretty much done in my eyes has been pretty fucking great.
Agreed.
Conjuring stuff, it's all fucking good. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with this. It just looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, it looks great. The fight scenes look really good. They showed Jax getting his arms pulled off by Sub-Zero in like the first second of the trailer.
That sold me. That sold me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the gore. Well, that was a Red Band trailer, so like that they showed a lot more stuff than the other one. Johnny Cage. Well, I saw a couple of people complaining already about it, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this is why we can't have nice things. But people were complaining about that they look kind of skinny or like whatever, and I'm like, the recent games they've been kind of drawn that way. Like they look kind of like normal people. They're just fighters.
Mhm.
And if you look at most fighters in real life, they're not big fucking bulky guys. They're
Not
not. I don't want to say thin, but they're good. Like
they're regular size.
They look like regular sized people. Like most fighters that you see are like regular sized people. They just know how to fight. And that's kind of like the vibe they got in this one. The other complaint that I saw was no Johnny Cage, which I'll explain later. And somebody else was popping shit about some stuff because you kind of see something that looks like a reptile, but can't be reptile the character. And people are already talking shit about that. Let me go on a little rant really quick. I fucking hate the way people react to everything now. Like it's either really, really good or it's really, really bad. And they have to fucking break down every fucking second of a trailer or a TV show or a movie to explain the fuck out of it when there's no need for that. Like, and it goes back to what I was saying about WandaVision with the Agatha Harkness thing. These people fucking went frame for frame, second by second on the show, and every fucking theory they came up with was fucking wrong. And because it's their channel or their article, no one says, hey, you got that really fucking wrong because you're an idiot and you're just making up your own shit. Same thing with the Mortal Kombat thing. That should drop today at like noon. By fucking 12:05, people were breaking it down already. And I'm like, yo, calm the fuck down. Enjoy it for what it is. Like, just let it happen. All right. I miss when people weren't this fucking stupid about pop culture and entertainment. I really do.
It's the bias is what it is. It's the bias of everything.
Because as much as I dislike the way Cisco looked at video games, or was it Ebert, which was a fat guy, Ebert, right?
Ebert,
Cisco and Ebert back in the day, they were known journalists. They had been watching and reviewing movies for a very long time as part of their job. They had gone to school to critique things. So we took what they said at a very high level because they were at a high level. Now
Yeah,
cut to
exactly.
fucking 2021, some dickhead who's never left his house or ever even like touched a woman or a guy is fucking telling me what he thinks is gonna happen, and he's acting like it's gospel. No, it's not. It's just a fucking
No,
person with a
not.
fucking Gmail account and a fucking webcam. It's fucking bullshit. Anyway, because yo, dude, it was bad today, man. I was like, what the fuck? Because like I was looking at the Mortal Kombat hashtag on Twitter, and I was arguing with these people back and forth. I'm like, yo, like it's first off, it's a movie. These characters are fictional,
Yeah,
and you don't have to see it.
characters,
Like
yeah.
instead of fucking complaining about it, don't watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, so rant over. Back to Mortal Kombat. Yo, Mortal Kombat's like 30 years old too, because that first game came out in 90.
Yep.
And when that game first came out, right, Jean-Claude Van Damme had just gotten big. And Johnny Cage, the thing was that what they wanted to do with this movie was the game was like they wanted it to be like a Jean-Claude Van Damme game because they thought it would bring in like more attention to it and make the game more popular and make more money. But at the time, Jean-Claude Van Damme wanted like a ridiculous amount of money. And I guess rightfully so, because he was like the biggest action star at the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird now that like Jean-Claude Van Damme was like bigger than Arnold and what's his name? Stallone at one point. But yeah. And so he wanted way too much money. So instead of having him as Johnny Cage, they had to start over from scratch. And they made a generic Johnny Cage. Now, my point with that is that when they did the Mortal Kombat movies, I think they have to pay him for every movie role. Every movie that has a Johnny Cage in it, Jean-Claude Van Damme gets a check for.
Get the fuck out of here.
If it's on TV, I don't think he does because they've used Johnny. Yeah, dude, look it up. It's on YouTube and a bunch of other websites. There's a history of Mortal Kombat, and I love these games. Like, I used to play for money in Times Square when Mortal Kombat 3 came out, and I was pretty good. So yeah, like they were Johnny Cage was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme or a version of Jean-Claude Van Damme. So anytime that they show him in a movie, they have to pay Jean-Claude Van Damme. If it's in a cartoon, video game, or comic book, I don't think so. I think the rights are different with the movie because it's Warner Brothers.
Right.
But and I forgot who had it before Warner Brothers because they just acquired it pretty recently, I think. Or I might be wrong about that. But yeah, that's why there's no Johnny Cage in this one. So far, I don't think. Like he might show up in like a cameo or it might be in the end of the movie or whatever. They have a new character made just for the movie. And once I started watching the trailer, I was like, okay, this makes sense because like they can do whatever they want with this new character. I think his name is Cole.
Yeah.
They can do anything they want with this character. Like they can kill him off, or they can make him the new whatever. And it doesn't matter because it's not in the gospel of the video games, because the video games have this whole really cool story. Yeah. Actually, I have another really big rant in me about Mortal Kombat, the video game. Can I get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. I just love fighting games like King of Fighter, Guilty Gear, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter again. All those games I'm really into.
Tekken was my shit back in the day.
Yeah. So, Tekken still actually, but not as big as before. So Mortal Kombat 11, I think it was, came out in 2019. And in 2020, they kind of like, what they do with these games is like instead of making a sequel, like every year they'll update it and they'll add a bunch of shit. Like they'll add new players to it and new stages and new stuff and whatever. The game itself cost $60 when I got it in 2019. I paid full price for it because I really love Mortal Kombat. It's one of the few games I paid full price for.
Right.
It's a great fighting game. It is the best fighting game right now. It actually surpassed Street Fighter in my Street Fighter 5 to me. And like, you know, because I got the PS5, I was gonna go pick it up. Like I was gonna install it and then update it so I can have all the latest shit and I can play it. Because if you don't update it, you can't play. You can't play online. Like you can only play regular, but you can't play it online unless it's
that fucking sucks.
The recent version, yeah, dude. Yo, to fucking update it completely right now about a sale, it's $30 for the one that came out in 2020. Yeah, the one that came out last year, and fucking $60, $50. Yeah, I think it's like 30 for the one from before, and $50 to update it now. So that's $80 to get content for a game I already and you already paid. The listeners who has it $60 already. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, not even Capcom had the balls to do that. Capcom charged like $25 once, and they updated the whole thing. And Street Fighter 5 has been out since 2018.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, as much as I love Mortal Kombat, fuck Mortal Kombat. Like the video game people, like that's a lot of money, man. Especially now.
Yeah. With all the in-game shits and
like,
yeah, no.
like we're about to hit a really really weird kind of recession. That's not going to be officially a recession, but like we're in deep. Like I'm not working. Half the country isn't working, and like these people had the nerve to fucking charge full price for 2 things that came out that are supposed to be add-ons for video game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I got really mad. I deleted the fucking game. I got so mad. I was like, fuck these people. I was like, that's way too much money, man. Like, as I said it before, and I was talking about stuff last week. Like, I love video games, but that shit's expensive. It's not cheap. So
yeah, it's not cheap at all.
I was like, fuck y'all. I'll just play Street Fighter.
That's fair.
And that's my last rant for the week.
Well, that's cool. Like, I'm glad that we got a good trailer for a movie.
Yeah, it looks so good, man.
It looks fucking great.
Like a month and a half, right?
Yeah.
2 months? 2 months? Yeah, 2 months from today.
Yeah. Dude, like, it just looks so fucking good. And the awesome shit about it is that, like, it's going to be on HBO. We don't have to go to the theaters to go see it.
Yeah.
And that's fucking great. And the fact that, like, they've actually finally introduced fucking fatalities to the big screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that Sub-Zero thing when he's fighting Scorpion and he like freezes him and throws him into the ice wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's a move from the game. That's from Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
Like shot for shot, frame for frame. That's from the video game. I was like, whoa. Like they've done bits and pieces with Scorpion, but like that shit was dope, dude. I was like, oh yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really fucking good. I'm very excited to see that shit.
And Mortal Kombat 11 is really good. It's just I'm not paying any more money for that. Like I would have paid $30 to update it, but not no fucking 80. That's too much.
Yeah, $80 to upgrade a game that you've already had for a while is not worth it. Honestly, it's like what the fuck. Like just keep it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
And like I said, man, like a bunch of the other big games that came out have free upgrades, so there's no excuse for this shit. I'm like, yo, fuck y'all. Greedy motherfuckers.
Exactly. I was just about to say they're just money hungry assholes. That's what it is. Yeah, some sad shit, but you know what? That's people will still pay for it. That's the sad shit.
Yeah, they did. Mortal Kombat 11 has been like huge in sales. I was looking at that stuff. Like it's been the #1 fighting game for a while.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's fair because it's the only one that actually looks semi-realistic as compared to fucking like Street Fighter and shit.
And it's a shame too, because like the new characters they put in, it's Rambo, Terminator, RoboCop, Leatherface, and I think Jason, and a bunch of other costumes from like back in the day. But yeah, I'm not paying that much. Like if it all goes on to 30, I'll get it, but not at the price point that it's at now.
No, thank you.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat though, the movie looks really fucking good.
Yeah, the movie looks fucking amazing. I'm very excited to see this. Like, need to see it now. Yeah. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up for this week. We were pretty much done with all the main news for this week, and that's a good chunk of shit that we got this week, especially towards the end of the week. This fucking like, holy crap, so much shit.
Yeah, like everything kind of the same thing like last week. Like everything hit on the same day.
Yeah. So make sure you go to check InnerCityGeeks.net where we got a whole bunch of shit. Sometimes, of course, we have this show. We also have It's Poppin', Friend of the Fangirl shit. We have Bryce with Jay Presents. We have some older shows. We have Inner City Geeks Turntable, which I think the last episode we did was the whole New Year's episode where we did pretty much talked about our favorite musics of the year. So you can check that out. Then we have First Watch that me and Renee did a while ago. We also have the Inner City Geeks webcomic, which I spoke to Alex, and we may be working on some shit for that. New shit, not just the regular stuff that we usually put up. The ICGPW Slamcast, which was a podcast about wrestlings that we had a while back. So go check that out. That actually had Brian and Alex and one of our homies, Khalid, from back in the day. And then Comics Goes Sabor Manga Time Anime World with Mario. And that's all there. Go find that shit. And then that's pretty much it for all the shows. But a whole bunch of other random shit that we have on there. So make sure you go check all that shit out. InnerCityGeeks.net. And then you can find some cool shit on the bottom of the website. You can buy some stuff from Amazon, or you get your first month free of Amazon Prime on there. Also you can find some stuff for your beard, for your beardly fellows. You know, you got Beard Octane, get some beardly good shit, oils, butters, balms, cool shit. So Sick Clothing, get some cool gear from there. Type in ICG10 for 10% off. And then what's the other one? CBDMD. Go check that shit out. Got some cool CBD shit, decent prices. Go check it out. Why not? Places you could find this show. You could find us on SoundCloud, on Stitcher Radio, Google Podcast, and on motherfucking Spotify. So go check us out on there. You can find us on the socials. You can find us on Facey Space, so facyspace.com/InnerCityGeeks, on the Instagram at InnerCityGeeks, on Twitter at InnerCityGeeks. And where can we find you, Renee?
You can find me at DarthBX, DarthBX, one word, on Instagram and Twitter. Same name.
Nice. And you guys can find me on the Instagrams and the Twitters, both at Mr. Jackal, MisterJackal. Yes, such a good episode. I love it, man. I love that we're living in an age that we can actually enjoy all the good shit.
Yeah.
That we've been pretty much lived our entire lives being shunned on.
Yeah, it's a good time to be a nerd.
Yeah, absolutely. So say your goodbye, sir.
Real quick, to the people in Texas, I know this is coming up on Monday, so hopefully the weather kind of straighened itself out. Stay strong, hang in there. Just know that everybody in the country is kind of rooting for you guys to make it through. Everybody else is struggling with stuff, man. Just hang in there, man. You'll be fine. Yeah, man. Have a good week. Be good. Be safe. And later.
Yeah. And before we go, I like to play some music. More music, of course. We had music earlier. We had some Andrew WK shit from before. But now I'm gonna bring you another band that I'm a huge fan of. A little bit heavier than the last thing that we had. But this is from a French band called Gojira, which is an awesome fucking band that their name always reminds me of fucking Godzilla. But this band is fucking amazing. And they just came out with a new fucking song that's fucking amazing. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of theirs. Like, I love their fucking music. I love their heavy shit. I love everything that they do. And the fact that a lot of their shit is somewhat political in a way. But it's fucking dope. I like it. And I love the new song. The new song is called Born for One Thing. It's really good. It's very fun to listen. So check it out. But always remember that don't be a fucking dick. And there you go. Back scratch that a little bit again. Always remember that the geeks shall inherit the motherfucking earth.